All of a sudden, we're in women's basketball mode, not because of Iowa football losing this past weekend, not because of the bye week, but for a couple of different reasons. One being the commitment of five-star forward McKenna Velichko, but we also got news of a special preseason honor for an Iowa senior that dropped this week as well. We'll talk about the news in just a moment. But first, I want to tell you about something. We are going to be live from Big Grove Brewery in Des Moines tonight. And we'll also have a special call from Kasheen Alexander. She's going to join us to talk about McKenna Velichko and her commitment to Iowa. So we'll get Kasheen's take on that recruiting news. And also you'll get myself and Tyler Kluver of the Washed Up Walk-Ons. We'll talk about that news along with Iowa football, Iowa men's basketball. Join us over at Big Grove Brewery. Come out in person if you're in the central Iowa area or you're willing to travel to Des Moines this evening. We'll be live on the air at 6 p.m. from the patio at Big Grove Brewery in Des Moines. Again, Big Grove Brewery in Des Moines. Myself and Tyler Kluver of the Washed Up Walk-Ons. Join us live this evening. So we're here to talk about Hannah Stuelke and her preseason honor. She has been named to the first team preseason All-Big Ten team. Now, we don't normally talk about preseason accolades. Honestly, I don't record a lot of these videos, even postseason, when players on the men's team or the women's team are added to all conference teams. Why are we talking about Hannah Stuelke? Well, this week with the McKenna Velichko news breaking, it seems like people are back in women's basketball mode, and I love it, right? We're less than a month away from the exhibition. We've got basketball later this month, and the first actual regular season game is about a month away. So here's the announcement from Iowa that dropped yesterday. University of Iowa forward Hannah Stuelke was named first team preseason All-Big Ten by the coaches and media. The conference announced on Thursday. The Cedar Rapids, Iowa native returns as Iowa's top scorer and rebounder for her senior season, averaging 12.7 points per game, 7.7 rebounds per game. Stuelke started 32 games in the 24-25 season and was named second team All-Big Ten in back-to-back seasons. In her freshman year, she was named the Big Ten Sixth Player of the Year. Stuelke is one of 20 Hawkeyes all-time to have amassed over 1,100 points and 600 rebounds in their career. And of course, she's got another year to go. Fans are invited to attend the Hawkeye Hoops from Downtown, which is on Friday, October 17th at the outdoor basketball court behind Burge Residence Hall, beginning at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. Attendees will have the opportunity to get a first look at the men's and women's basketball teams, unofficial tip-off to the upcoming season. So we haven't really talked about that yet, but that's kind of a cool event here in a couple of weeks. Iowa men's and women's basketball are really trying to connect with fans. And that's the great thing about Jan Jensen and Ben McCollum now as a pair, as leaders of those two programs. Both of those individuals are really concerned with fan engagement. And I just think that's great for the sport and for the fan base. So congratulations to Hannah Stuelke. And here's the deal. We didn't talk a lot about Hannah's slight regression in some categories last year as far as stats. There was a bit of a regression. And part of that is, I think, losing Caitlin Clark, right? Losing her as a ball handler, as a teammate, and some of that production is just going to naturally drop off. You add Lucy Olson, who I don't want to call her ball dominant, but in some regards, she did need the ball in her hands a lot. She was the third leading scorer in the country prior to her arrival at Iowa. But Hannah's numbers, if you look at her stats through 3 years, you heard some of those stats in that release, but here are her numbers. So true freshman year, she played just 13 minutes per game, but averaged nearly 7 points and 4 rebounds. Her sophomore year, she went up to 14 points, 7 rebounds in 25 minutes per game. And then she went up to 28 minutes per game last season, but her field goal percentage went from 63% her sophomore year down to 50%. Of course, she's probably taking more shots, you'd say, more difficult shots. Not really. 9.2 field goal attempts per game last year compared to 8.9 her sophomore season. Now, she did really improve from the free throw line. In fact, I thought these numbers would end up higher than they did. 68% from the foul line. Keep this in mind. She started her career at Iowa 46% from the foul line. She did improve in rebounding last year. She's averaging nearly 8 rebounds per game. Boy, if she could average closer to 9 this year, that would be huge. Of course, they have Layla Hayes coming in along with Ava Hayden returning, but they lose Addison O'Grady. And she did improve her assist numbers, basically doubled her assist numbers from 1 to 2 assists per game last year. So again, field goal percentage went down. She shot a lot more threes last year. She shot 17 threes, so less than 1 3 shot per game, but that's a lot. And she made just 2 of them. So, we've talked about this before, and Kasheen Alexander's talked about this before. what does Hannah need to do to take her game to the next level? And I still think it comes back to being able to hit jump shots consistently. We've seen that progression from the foul line. And yeah, improving post moves. I do think that's something that she's probably going to be working on. But I also think there's going to be an opportunity to be the true four in this offense. And remember, last year going into her junior year, she and Sita Falter were both dealing with injuries during the offseason. And we kept hearing that narrative. I'm not saying it's wrong, but we just kept hearing about how that slowed down her progression and her ability to develop different parts of her offensive game. Knock on wood, it sounds like she has been healthy this offseason. Hopefully the jump shot is part of her repertoire now more than it ever has been. I don't think she needs to be jacking a ton of threes, but definitely needs to be more effective in the mid-range. Again, developing the post moves would be great, especially if she wants a chance to play in the WNBA. But if she's a true four, you've got to be able to shoot the ball, right? And I think defensively, she's probably going to be Iowa's best all-around defender. Probably. I mean, you could argue a couple of different ways there. Certainly, I think with her athleticism, I think she's probably the best athlete on the team right now. So that gives her a natural advantage. But she's going to be playing 30 minutes per game. So hopefully, she's going to be panning out to those expectations. I just think it's a great opportunity for her senior year. Now that she, I guess, has stayed healthy. We assume she stayed healthy during the offseason. And of course, there's going to be a scoring need without Lucy, without Caitlin. So certainly she's in a position to fill it. And the conference thinks she is as well. She's named first team All Big Ten preseason. So congratulations to Hannah Stuelke. She will look to take the reins of this offense and of this team and be a leader her senior year. Folks, be sure you tune in with us live from Big Grove Brewery down in Des Moines. Again, join us in person if you can. Have a bite to eat, something to drink. Be sure you hit the like button on this video. We will talk to you live at Big Grove Brewery tonight, Friday, October 3rd, 6 p.m., right here from the Hawkeye of the Storm.